Jai Hind students, myself Pancham Singh, Assistant Professor in IT Department, AKGC Ghaziabad. I am going to deliver first lecture on operating system, and in this lecture I will discuss about the operating system, what is the operating system and how operating system will provide the interface between the user and the computer hardware. So now I am going to discuss one by one. So this is the introduction part. Here in introduction part, basically I will discuss about the what operating system will do, computer system organization, computer system architecture, operating system structure, operating system operations. In operating system operations, we will perform different operation like process management, memory management, storage management, production and security, kernel data structure, computing environment, open source operating system. So these are the basically introduction part where operating system will do, and computer system organization. So how you will organize the computer system, how will manage the computer system architecture, which type of structure will operating system will provide, and these are the some important operations we will discuss one by one like process management, memory management, storage management, protection and security, kernel data structure, computer environment, open source operating system. So these are the operations we will discuss one by one in operating system. So first I will discuss about the what is the operating system. So operating system operating system is an interface between the user and the computer hardware. Basically it will provide the interface between the user and hardware and how user can interact with the hardware to execute the program. So this is this behave as an interface between the user and the hardware. And what are the goals of the operating system? So there are some important goals of the operating system like execute user programs and make solving user problems easier. So basically operating system will solve the user programs and it will provide the user so that user can easily solve the problems. And second is the make the computer system convenient to use so that user can easily access the operating system and execute the programs. And now third one is the use the computer hardware in a efficient manner. So operating system will manage the hardware as well as the different softwares like application programs through which user can execute one by one programs. So now I am going to discuss about the computer system structure. So in computer system structure, basically computer system divided into four important components. First one is the hardware. So hardware will provide the basic computing resources like CPU, memory, input output devices. And second one is the operating system. You know very well operating system is behave as an interface between the user and hardware. Operating system will controls and coordinates use of the hardware among various application and the user. And the third one is the component of the computer system is the application programs. So application programs basically through which user can perform different applications like word processor, compiler, web browsers, database systems, video games. So these are the application programs through which user can directly interact with the application programs. And last one is the users. So user may be a people, maybe machine, and maybe the other computers. So user is divided into different categories like people, machine, and other components. So these are the computer system structures. So these are the four important components of the computer system structure like hardware, operating system, application programs, and users. Now I am going to discuss about the block diagram. You can say this is the block diagram of the computer system structure. So here is the computer hardware is the bottom level and the user is the top level. And what is the operating system? So operating system basically it is the between the user and the hardware. So and we will discuss about the system and application program. So through system and application programs, user can interact and it will perform the different applications with the help of the operating systems. So what operating system will do? Basically operating system will provide the interface between the user and the hardware, and operating system will provide the ease of the use and good performance so that user can run the programs in efficient manner, and user can do the different program in the ease of the use, and the performance can be enhanced by the operating system with the help of the OS. So operating system definition. Now I am going to discuss about the operating system do. So operating system behave as a resource allocator. So operating system will manages all different types of resources, and operating system will decide between the conflicting requests for efficient and fair resource use. So operating system is a resource allocator. You can allocate the different hardware resources, and through which we can execute the various programs. So it will manages all resources, what resources you have allocated, and it also decides between the conflicting resource requests for efficient and fair resource use. So when you are going to allocate a resource, so definitely operating system will give the efficient use of that particular resource without conflicting. Now move for the second important definition of the operating system. Like operating system is a control programs. So operating system controls execution of the program to prevent errors and improper use of the computer. So operating system control the different programs which are running in your system, and it will also provide the different types of errors which will occur in the computer systems. Now I am going to discuss about the more definition of the operating systems here. So no universal accept definition is there. So in operating system, you know very well what operating system will do. Now everything a vendor ships when you order an operating system is a good approximation. So definitely here is different operating systems are given. So every operating system is giving the performance good, but in terms of the security, in terms of the performance, you can categorize the different operating system. Some operating system are designed like a server based operating system, some machine are designed, or you can say some operating system are designed for single user OS. So you can design the different operating system as per the requirement. So what is the role of the kernel in the operating system? The one program running at all times on the computers is the kernel. So kernel is running all times. So kernel is the center part of the operating system. So whenever you are going to run any program, so kernel basically execute all requests which are given by the users, and operating system will execute all programs, all requests that is given by the user with the help of the kernel. Now everything else is either a system program or an application program. So system program, you know very well, operating system is behave as a system programs. And what about the application programs? So application programs that can be interact by the user directly. So user can directly interact with the application programs, different application program to execute the task. So now I am going to discuss about the computer startup. So when computer will start up, yeah, or you can say when operating system will start executing, when operating system will start running the programs. So that is the very important here. So bootstrap program is loaded at power up or reboot. So bootstrap program is basically loaded when power up, or you can say when operating system will start booting, then bootstrap program will loaded inside the memory, and when it will loaded inside the memory, then after that operating system will start to doing the program, or you can say operating system will execute the program. So here is the typically stored in the ROM or EEPROM, generally known as the firmware. So it is basically stored in the ROM, that is random read only memory, and EEPROM, and it is known as the firmware. So we are going to initialize all aspects of the system. So definitely bootstrap program is loaded at power up, and it will, or you can say it will reboot, and it will store in the ROM or EEPROM, and it will initialize all aspects of the systems. Now loads operating system kernel and start executing. So definitely when operating system will loaded properly inside the memory, then after that operating system is start to executing. So these are the computer system organization. So you can say computer system organization is divided into different operations, like computer system operations. One or more CPUs, devices, controllers connect through the common bus, providing access to the shared memory. And second one is the concurrent execution of CPUs and device competing for memory cycles. So computer system organization is going to perform different operations with the help of the CPU. So CPU is the brain of the computer, and CPU will execute the different programs with the help of the disk controller, USB controllers, and graphics adapter. So these are the controllers through which we can execute the program with the help of the memory. So CPU will execute, or you can say CPU will execute the different operations with the help of the memory. What memory is required by the disk controller, what memory is required by the USB controller and graphic adapter. So you are giving the inputs with the help of the input keyboard or mouse, and you will execute your programs with the help of the memory, and CPU will process that particular programs. Computer system operations. So what operation you can perform in the computer system? So input output devices and the CPU can execute concurrently. So definitely you know very well that input output, what input you are giving, we are getting the output, and operating system will execute all programs which are given by the users, or you can say operating system will execute all programs or you can which are given by the users in the form of the inputs, and CPU will execute all the inputs in concurrent manner, and they are not conflicting to each other. Now move for the second point. Each device controller is in the charge of a particular device types. So which device controller we are going to access, they will not conflicting, and they are giving the separate resources, their separate result whenever you are using, like in the previous slide you can say like a disk controller, USB controller, and graphics adapter. So which type of services you want to access from the different controllers, you can access separately, and but they are not conflicting to each other. So in second point, each device controller is in the charge of the particular device types. And move for the third point, each device controller has a local buffer. So you can see in previous slide, so each device controller like disk controller, USB controller, graphics controller, they have the different local buffer, and they are saving the inputs, and whenever you are giving the inputs, and after that they are getting the inputs, and it will start to executing. Now move for the CPU moves data from main memory to the local buffer, or you can say CPU moves data from the to memory from the local buffer. So CPU will process the information, process the data, and whenever you are giving the inputs, and it will move the data from the main memory to the local buffer, or local buffer to the main memory. Input output is from the device to local buffer of controller. So input output, you have given the inputs, and that input will be stored in the local buffer of the controller, and controller after that it will give the command, so that the input which are giving in the sequential manner, and it will executed one by one without conflicting. So now last point is the device controller informs CPU that it has finished its operation by causing an interrupt. So after completing that particular request, or you can say after completing that particular input, the CPU will get the interrupts. It means that you have finished your program, you have finished your execution. So it will give the interrupt, so that user can know that that particular program has finished now, and now you have given the another input in the form of the new request. So some common functions of the interrupts are given here. So you can say interrupt transfer control to the interrupt service routine, generally through the interrupt vector. So interrupt vector is the area where it will store the types of the interrupt, address of the interrupts, and after that you can run the different interrupts which are given by the users, or given by the system, and which contain the address of all the service routines. So definitely if any interrupt is occur, it will have the address, it will have the details of that particular request which are given by the user, or which can be given by the machines, and it will store in the interrupt vectors. Interrupt architecture must save the address of the interrupted instruction. So interrupt architecture, basically it will save the address of the interrupted instruction which are given by the machines, or which are given by the user, or maybe it will given by the hardware. So definitely it will store in the interrupt architecture. Now move for the next point, that is a trap. What is the trap? This is very important topics, and mainly it will ask in the paper. So what is the difference between trap and interrupt? So trap is a software generated interrupt. Trap is a software generated interrupt caused either by an error or a user request. So it is a software generated interrupt. It is caused by the user, or it will caused by the errors which is given by the system. So this is the trap. And now last point is that an operating system is a interrupt driven. So operating system will receives, or you can say listen the all interrupts which are given by the machines, or which are given by the users, which are given by the hardware. So operating system will resolve the problems of the traps which are given by the user or errors. So operating system will manage the whole things which are executing in the machine in the form of the errors, in the form of the hardwares, in the form of the process management, memory management, input output management. So operating system will manage all types of interrupts which are occur in the system. So what is the interrupt handling? So interrupt handling, the operating system preserves the state of the CPU by storing registers and the program counter. So you know very well the register is the smallest storage device where you can store the data in the form of the bits. And what about the program counter? The operating system preserves the state of the CPU by storing register and the program counter. So it will store the state of the CPU, which program is now running and which program is on ready state, which program is in the waiting state. So it will have the record of the programs which are executing inside the CPU, or you can say job queue. So it will have the records. So register is the basically it is a very small storage device, storage unit through which we can store the data in the form of the 0 and 1. And program counter, basically it will count the number of programs which are running, which are in the waiting state, which are in the suspended state. So it will have the record of the all programs which are in the different states. Now move for the next point, that is determine which type of interrupt has occurred. So we will face two different types of interrupts. First one is the polling, and second one is the vector interrupt systems. So this is the two different types of interrupts which are occur in the systems, and operating system will deals all different interrupts which are occur in the system, and it will resolve the problems. And last one is the separate segments of the code determine what action should be taken for each type of interrupt. So operating system will categorize which type of interrupt is there. It is a hardware generated interrupt or software generated interrupts, or you can say it is a user type of interrupt. So operating system will separate all different types of interrupt so that it will efficiently solve the problems, or you can efficiently resolve the problems. So this is the interrupt handling. So interrupt handling can be handled by the polling and vector interrupt system. So this is the interrupt timeline. So how interrupt will occur, or you can say how interrupt will execute. So CPU is processing all the inputs which are given by the users, and input output devices, if the devices are not in the use, definitely it will be in the idle state. But if the device is getting the request, or you can say if you are giving the inputs, so it will start executing and transfer the data. So transfer will done after input output request, and it will execute in the sequential manner. Let's say first input is given by the user. So first interrupt, if it will created, and after it will transmission, then now you can send the new request, or you can say new request will start executing, and it will after it executing. Third one is the start. You can give the new interrupt in the form of the input output devices. So interrupt driven, or you can say interrupt timeline, it will execute in the sequential manner what interrupt is given by the input output devices, and it will transfer one by one in the sequential order. And if there is no interrupt, the system will go in the idle state, and there is no execution, and system will stop executing, or you can say system is in the idle state, and you want to busy more and more CPU. So you will use the multi-programming concept. So busy CPU more frequently. So our goal to busy the CPU. So you will use the multi-programming concept to visit the CPU. So this is the input output structure. So input output structure, if you're giving the inputs, definitely we are giving the output either in the form of the execution, either in the form of the errors. So if you're giving the inputs, so wait instruction idle the CPU until the next interrupt. So if the system is in the idle state, it means that there is no interrupt. If CPU is getting the interrupts, it means that it will start executing the programs. So at most one input output request is outstanding at the time when your program is executing. So one interrupt is in the queue, or you can say one interrupt is running, and second interrupt you can create after completion of the first interrupt. So in input output request, or you can in input output structure, you can create one by one input output request and you will get the operation, or you can get the results. So what is the system call? So system call is the very important part in the operating system. So system call will execute. So system call requests all the OS to allow users to wait for the input output completion. So system call is a type of call, and it will request to the operating system allow user to wait for input output completion. So if one input request input output is running, let's say one program is running, after completion of that program, the next input will go for the execution. So definitely it will move for the one by one, and there is no confliction between the programs, so that operating system will manage all programs which are running in the system, and it will give the proper results. Now move for the device status table. So device status table contains entry for each input output device indicating its type, address and state. So device state table basically it contains the input output devices, and it will have the status of that particular input and output and address of that particular program. So this is the very important in the operating system, like system call and device status table. So it will give the status of the device, which device is now is busy state and which device is now in the free state, and now you can access that particular device if that device is free. So by using the system call and input and device status table, you can run the program in the more efficient manner. So now this is the PPT where we are going to discuss about the storage. So storage is the very important part in the operating system. So how you will store the data? So this is the question. So data is stored in the smallest digit in the form of the bit, and bit is storing the data in the form of the 0 and 1. Now move for the bigger storage device, bigger storage like 1 byte, and 1 byte is stored the 8 bits, and move for the next level of storage like 1 kilobyte, 1 megabyte, 1 gigabyte, 1 terabyte, 1 petabyte. So if you have the bunch of the data, so definitely you will go to the store the data in not in the form of the 0 and 1, and we are going to represent in the form of the kilobyte, megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte. So in 1 kilobyte, basically you will store the data 1024 bytes. So it is a bigger part, or you can say it a bigger unit of the storage. And 1 megabyte basically it is equal to the MB. MB means 1 megabyte. So it will store the data 1024 into 1024 bytes. Now move for the gigabytes. So 1 gigabyte is store the data in the form of 1024 into 1024 into 1024, or 1024 to power 4 bytes. For 3 bytes. Now move for the 1 terabyte. So it is represented in the form of a TB. So 1 TB equals to 1024 to power 4 bytes. Now move for the next, that is the highest storage like 1 petabyte. So 1 petabyte basically it will store the data in the bigger amount, or you can say 1024 to power 5 bytes. So these are the storage device notation. So you can store the data in the smallest digit, like in the form of the 0 and 1 in the form of the bits. Then move for the second larger, that in the form of the byte. And if you are going to store the data in the bigger areas, like in the form of the representation 1 kilobyte, 1 megabyte, 1 gigabyte, 1 terabytes, so you can use the different bigger unit in the form of the storage. Thank you.